If you've ever had a day that starts as ordinary
There's
as any
something
other,
I've been meaning
only
to tell
twist
you.
into something that makes you rethink who you are, then you'll understand what happened to me. It began quietly. No drama, no expectations, no grand purpose. Just a slow Saturday afternoon, sunlight spilling lazily through the curtains, and me knee-deep in chores I'd been avoiding for months. The kind of day that hums softly in the background of your life. Until suddenly it doesn't. I was sorting through old clothes, pulling forgotten things from the back of the closet. Jackets that no longer fit, shoes I swore I'd wear someday, sweaters that had lost their shape. And then, hidden behind a stack of scarves, I found something that stopped me cold. A skirt. Shorter than anything I'd wear now, playful, faded at the edges, but still intact. I held it up, smiling at the memory it carried, nights of laughter, music, and youth. A version of me that used to move through the world without second-guessing every step. For a moment, I stood there caught between two timelines. The woman I am now, cautious and measured, and the girl I once was, bold and unfiltered. Before I knew it, I slipped it on, just to see. Just to remember. The fabric hugged tighter than it used to, but when I turned toward the mirror, I couldn't help but laugh softly. It wasn't about vanity, it was nostalgia. A brief visit with a ghost of who I'd been, and that's when the knock came. At first, I ignored it. Probably a delivery, I thought. But the knock came again, firm, familiar. When I opened the door, there stood my nephew, Daniel. I'd called him earlier in the week about fixing a leaky faucet, but between work and 1,000 little distractions, I'd completely forgotten. He greeted me with an easy grin, toolbox in hand, every bit the confident young man I'd watched grow up from a shy kid. The moment felt harmless at first, just a bit of unexpected company. But as I let him in, a strange self-consciousness crept in. I tugged at the hem of the skirt, suddenly aware of how out of place it looked on me now. I brushed it off with humor, guiding him toward the bathroom, pretending not to notice the faint awkwardness that passed between us. He started working while I busied myself in the other room, trying to shake the unease. Yet something in the air had changed. Not tension exactly, just awareness. The awareness that time moves on, that people grow up, and that memories don't always fit neatly where they used to. When he asked for help holding the faucet, I stepped in without thinking. The space was small, our movements careful. We worked in silence, focused, yet I could feel an invisible thread of discomfort stretching between us. It wasn't inappropriate, it was emotional. The silent realization that both of us were seeing each other differently now. Not as child and guardian, but as two adults sharing the same awkward moment neither of us had planned. After the faucet finally loosened, Daniel exhaled in relief. "Got it," he said, wiping his hands. His eyes flicked to mine for just a moment before he smiled. Gentle, thankful. "You still have that same energy, you know," he said. "From when I was a kid. You always made the house feel warm." The comment wasn't strange, but it landed somewhere unexpected inside me. I smiled, unsure what to say. Compliments, even innocent ones, can catch you off guard when you're not used to hearing them. I muttered a quick thank you, and the conversation drifted to safer topics. Work, family, the weather. When he left, I felt both relief and a vague melancholy. The kind that lingers when something shifts beneath the surface of your day, and you're not sure what it means yet. That night, the silence in the house felt heavier than usual. I tried reading, scrolling, anything to push the awkwardness out of my head. But it wasn't Daniel that stayed with me. It was the skirt. That ridiculous, outdated piece of fabric that had somehow become a mirror to my past. I realized it wasn't the skirt that bothered me, or even the awkwardness of the visit. It was how unprepared I was to face the person I used to be. I'd spent years convincing myself she didn't matter anymore, that growing up meant burying her confidence and trading it for composure. But seeing her reflection again made me question whether I'd lost something essential along the way. The next morning, Daniel showed up again, this time with coffee and a nervous grin. "I was driving by," he said, clearly lying but trying to make it sound casual. I invited him in anyway. We sat on the couch, mugs warming our hands, neither of us quite knowing where to start. After a long silence, he spoke. "Yesterday felt weird," he said. I froze, unsure how to respond. "Not bad weird," he added quickly, "just different. I think seeing you reminded me that people change. That life moves on faster than we think." It wasn't what I'd expected him to say. I'd built an entire story in my head about what he might have been thinking, when in truth, he'd been processing his own nostalgia. We'd both been caught off guard by time, by the sudden reminder that the people we love aren't static. They evolve, just like we do. We talked for a long time that morning, about family, mistakes, ambitions. He told me about his struggles to find direction after college, his doubts about what kind of person he wanted to be. And as he spoke, I saw flashes of the boy I used to babysit. Curious, unsure, endlessly earnest. The same eyes, just older. I realized then that what had unsettled me wasn't his presence. It was the reflection of my own lost courage in his uncertainty. Before he left, he paused at the door and smiled. "You know," he said, "that skirt? You shouldn't get rid of it. It suits you, not because of how it looks, but because of what it reminds you of. Keep it as a souvenir. Proof that you used to live freely. Proof that you still can." After he left, I stood in the quiet for a long time, staring at the skirt draped over the chair. He was right. It wasn't about the fabric. It was about permission. The permission to remember, to forgive myself for aging, for changing, for losing and rediscovering parts of who I am. So I folded it carefully, not for donation this time, but to keep. A small act of defiance against the quiet erosion of self that adulthood demands. In the weeks that followed, Daniel and I settled back into our normal rhythm, occasional visits, shared meals, lighthearted teasing. The awkwardness faded, replaced by a deeper understanding between us, that growing up doesn't mean leaving behind who we were. It means learning to carry those versions of ourselves with grace. Sometimes, when I open the closet now, I catch a glimpse of that skirt and smile. Not because of vanity or nostalgia, but because it reminds me of a lesson I didn't know I needed. That life is a cycle of rediscovery. That even the most awkward moments can lead to clarity. That who we were and who we are don't have to be at odds. They can coexist, gently, in the same reflection. And so whenever I feel the weight of routine pressing down, I let myself remember that day. The knock on the door, the unexpected visitor, the uncomfortable laughter that led to a quiet truth. It wasn't about a skirt or a conversation. It was about recognizing that the person I'd been wasn't gone, just waiting for me to notice her again.